Yeah, to that point, and as we talked about this slide, I mean, cap rates are so subjective for, I think, what he alluded to a little bit. You could have 10 different buyers or five different
What is a cap
brokers.
rate?
And yeah, it's like so subjective. And a seller's cap rate's different than, I'm sure every webinar for the last 10 years has talked about this, but a seller's cap rate's different than a broker's cap rate, which is different than five buyers and what their cap rates are. Many sellers don't have the overhead that a bigger buyer, or not necessarily a bigger buyer, but a buyer who's going to be using white label, extra space, CubeSmart, or investing in track IQ, things that are huge value add, but a lot of these sellers may not have that. So there's so many layers there that affect things, versus what is a cap rate. But obviously it comes up a lot and it is a driving force. You hear all types of, how do we value this? My neighbor sold for X per square foot, or how come you can only sell it for X per square foot when it costs this much per square foot to build? At the end of the day, good or bad, cap rates are what drive value, and more times for our industry and sellers, that's a good thing. That valuation outlook is I think what drives prices, and has and continues to, I think, in a positive way, drive values. And when are cap rates going to move, and how have they moved? We'll stay on this slide for a second. One of the other slides talks about where I think average cap rates are for different types of properties and markets. But so much in my world, or in my opinion, I mean, cap rates don't move as quickly as anyone thinks. They don't follow the Fed decisions. That obviously is a piece to it all, but they always lag interest rates. They always lag bank debt. But I think one of the most common metrics the cap rates may fall over time is the 10-year Treasury, and that's what this slide is. This slide is not saying that we're at 4% cap rates today. I wish we were, but this is the 10-year Treasury slide. And why this one's being outlined is many banks for permanent financing will go off of the 5-year, the 10-year, the SOFR. I think most commonly the 10-year if it's a more stabilized deal, longer term financing options. And regardless of what the Fed does at their next meeting, if assuming they cut it 25% again, or if they don't do anything, or if they surprise everyone and cut it 200 basis points, which won't happen, cap rates don't necessarily just follow that. They're gonna sway up or down based on what lending does, which drags. So I think this slide's an important piece to look at.